Okay, for this painting, I decided to do a... Okay, I don't know if it's Veda or Betta. I feel like a lot of people go back and forth, so I'm not sure what the proper way to say it. But I'm drawing, I call it Betta, but I don't know. People say Beta, and they get mad because they're like, it's this way. Today, I am gonna attempt to draw. I call it Betta because I bet a fish, and don't get mad at me for those fish fanatics that love fishes and know the proper way, or maybe you can tell me. But I'll probably still keep saying Betta regardless, just because I don't know, like anyways, I'm gonna go off rails if I start talking about something else. So I started with a very very light sketch with a color pencil. I'll make sure to just try to show it, but I just used a little like blue watercolor pencil and did a quick outline just to kind of give me an idea of where the shape was gonna be. It's not really necessary. I mean, I could have just done it without it, but I don't know. I just decided to do like a quick sketch at first, but it was very lightly, so you couldn't even see it. And what I learned about the watercolors is that essentially they work just like your color palette, but instead of using like your color palette, then you would just use the pencil and then add the water to it, which is really nice. But I kind of like feel like either use one or the other. Like, I guess it is okay to combine it, like to outline if you really want to get like something really pointy, but your brush is there for that. And right here I kind of just did the blue. I think it was really pretty when I added the blue. I just honestly, like, this is my probably fourth time using watercolor. I've been kind of practicing it, and I've been doing, mainly I had been doing like landscape or like water areas, I don't know, like mountains and things like that. This is the first time that I actually drew this fish with watercolor, and I was really intimidated, and I thought it was like really hard. I was like, oh my god, because it takes quite a few layers, so it was a challenge and on its own. And I feel like for watercolors, the way to really work them is by doing a lot of layers. Like if you want a really thick color, doing a lot of layers, allowing for some sections to dry. But I also do like the wet on wet like style. But I feel like allowing things to dry, it allows for more like color, more layers, and more variations. I was gonna do like really fine details on like the scales and the fins and things like that, but I just kind of was hesitant and trying to see if it would actually turn out how I wanted it. So I just kind of kept going back and forth and playing with the colors. I normally I wouldn't choose like bright colors, but I really enjoyed like how this was turning out, and just kind of kept playing with it, and just layering the colors. That's really like all you can do with watercolors. It does take some time, but for someone that's like, I don't want to say a clean freak, but I feel like sometimes they can be, especially with like my paint. I don't want to leave a mess, right? I don't want to leave a mess behind, and I want things to be kind of easy to clean. Let me tell you that watercolors, as far as like the paints go, are the easiest to clean. Like, I am amazed, and I feel like I'll probably paint more with watercolors, just because the cleaning process, you guys, I am so happy. Like, I'm like literally, I feel like I need to have a camera on me next time because I'm making all these expressions with like my hands. Because I'm like grabbing my head and just going. But anywho, the cleaning process, I feel like is so good. My brushes, really, all I had to do was just kind of swish them in. I actually use the same water, the same water that I was using for like to paint. I just swish them and then just dry them in the paper towel. And I'm touching the bristles right now, and like the bristles are actually really soft. So it's still like it didn't quite get a lot of paint on it, so it didn't make the bristles hard or anything. So I really enjoyed that part of it. And then as far as the napkin, right now I've been using kind of like the same paper towel. I allow it to dry and then I use it again. I've used it for like 3 different paintings using the same paper towel. And for the background, I actually did choose a little bit of the color, but also the water. The water, I feel like it had a little bit of color, so I kind of started with just the water. The water that I was using to clean my pens, and then I added some color. I was thinking of doing the background blue, like like ocean or whatever, but I don't know. I just wanted to give it a different color, and also I swear I'm gonna get backlash back and forth from like beta to beta. But beta fishes, they actually normally live in like murky water. It's not dirty, like, but it's just more murky. Like it's more. I want to say it like it's not dirty. Okay, the water is actually like if you take it out, it's pretty clear, but like they live in like their normal environment is like almost like a lake kind of thing, but it's like a river, like I don't know. You guys do your research because I can't remember. I remember watching like a series on them, and like they talked about like where they grow and things like that, where they're naturally are from, but usually they're kind of like in this, I think it's like a river. I can't remember. I really can't remember. But anywho, their water is usually full of like leaves and things like that. So they have a lot of hiding places, and their water is definitely not blue. So I decided to do the background a little bit, and I really loved how it turned out. You guys, like the background, I've never done like a really light background like that. And I just love the look of like of water, like of the actual flow of the, I don't know, like, I mean, I need to pull it out so I can look at it closely, but just the way the background settled, I feel like it was really neat. Yeah, it just looks very, very nice. I like it. Now right here is where I kind of got scared, because I was like, oh my god, that looks chaotic, and because again, this is kind of like not an expert with watercolors, and obviously I'm still not. Like, I'm not saying this photo made me an expert or whatever, but I was really hesitant and scared because I was like, oh my god, it's like not going how I wanted it, and I really just wanted like the underneath the fin to be really dark, but I was like, oh my god, is this too dark? Like, I was really scared and hesitating on choosing the right colors and not going too dark, not going too light, and then so I just kept going back and forth, and like just allowing it to dry, I feel like is like the key to everything. So once one section would dry, I would actually start with another section and allow the other section to dry. So I feel like that's kind of what you have to do with watercolor. Again, I'm not an expert, but I feel like allowing sections to dry and layering it, it's much better. And I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm like trying to really get some white. I'm really trying to get some white to pop through, which eventually, like after digging some of it out, it did kind of show a little bit better. Um, but I really wanted to use it almost like how I would with acrylic. Like with acrylic colors, you don't have to, like the white will show right away. Whatever color it is very, very bright. But with watercolors, obviously, I feel like it's more delicate, more like, I don't know, you really have to be very patient in the process. And it was really nice, like, how it was finally starting to turn out. The eye was like one of my favorite things to draw. Because I was like, I am gonna get the circle right this time, like the eyeball. I was like, I want to make sure that the eyeball is like perfectly round. So I just started, and this photo actually, it was inspired by a calendar that I used to have. I used to go to a pet store all the time, and not gonna lie, I was pretty much always there. Because I have fishes, and I'm like always, I was always shopping there and things like that, and they have Betta fishes as well, and they're just sitting in a cup, sadly, and I'm always wanting to take a whole bunch, but obviously you can't, because they do like to be, if they're male, they're territorial, so you have to have either like a really huge tank and a lot of hiding places if you want to take two males, but usually you want to separate them because they would they would fight for the territory, very territorial. But I actually got a calendar from there. They gave me a calendar, and that calendar had different photos, and there's a fish that was kind of similar to this one. I mean, I did do a few changes, like the gills. I changed the gills, I changed the eye, and I changed the mouth. Because the mouth, I painted it like one of another fish I bought years ago. I went to the store, and I really can't remember if it was a betta fish or if it was a goldfish, but I remember buying a fish because it had like a mark on its face and it kind of looked like a mustache, but it also looked like a frown, like it looked like it was frowning. It just looked, oh, see, there goes the eyeball. It's like, oh, I love it. Like, I actually was so happy, like how perfect the circle turned out. But yeah, and just to try to make it like real and just kind of pay attention to like the details, I really did enjoy it. Like, painting with watercolors, I'm like surprised because, again, normally all my paintings are usually acrylic paint, with acrylic paint, but just playing with the watercolors and the fact that it's so easy, you can just add water, and then if you don't like something, usually your eraser is kind of like water again, using water in a way. So I don't know, in using white, so it was really interesting, and it was really relaxing, really. And I think, I don't want to say it because it might not be, but I think this is one of my new favorites. And I may say that with oil paint next. With oil paint right now, I've been kind of collecting all the supplies, because, well, I'm on a budget. I'm always on a budget. But I'm on a budget, so I just been buying like one color or two colors a month. And I do have a little kit that comes with all the colors, but I wanted to get the like really nice oil paints, which I saw a video and it said that they were like, well, that's like your medium budget base, and I'm like, so it's not like the nicest one. but I feel like I might fall in love with oil paint. The only thing about oil paint that it's a little bit different than most paints. It's the cleaning process. You do have to get like a good cleaner, and you have to be careful where you deposit the remaining paint, because some of it is toxic. Some of the products are toxic, and they're flammable and things like that. So I've been doing a lot of research for a while, probably, I don't know, for a year now. I've been trying to figure out if oil paint is something that I want to do and work with. And honestly, it is intimidating. And I feel like water paint was intimidating for me as well. I mean, it still is, because I feel like when you first start, you're like, oh my god, how am I going to get from this to this, right? But I feel like it's baby steps and little... Oh, right here, I love this part where I could erase it. Like, see what I mean? Like, I just grabbed a little bit of water and dabbed it, and it did take a little bit of the color off, which I loved. And then, of course, signing my name is always my favorite part. I usually don't do it. I usually don't sign on any of my paintings, so I'm trying to get into that habit of, like, putting my name on it. But I really... And oh my god, the date, I wish I would have kept this date. I ended up, like, I don't know, just kind of toning it down and changing it all together. I also did add more blue at the in the fin, because I feel like the tail was kind of short, so I ended up, after I took off the tape, I did end up adding a little more blue on the tail end. But removing the tape, you guys, is so satisfying. And here's the eyeball. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe.